All right, for the last group of vertebrates, we'll take a look at the mammals. At the very bottom, so these are the synapsid. Now remember, synapsid, there were synapsid reptiles too, so there's this interesting little thing like I was talking about with Aristotle's scale of nature. There's down at the bottom, there's the synapsid group, and these are all creatures that belong to synapsid group. There's Dimetrodon. Dimetrodon, about halfway up was a sphenodontid. And as we work our way up, there's the cynodont. That's what a cynodont looked like. Sort of a zebra, tiger-looking thing. These were all mammal-like reptiles, so we call them non-mammalian synapsids. Okay, so they're reptiles, but they're mammal-like reptiles. We don't get into the mammal group until we get to the three at the end. There are three major groups of mammals: the monotremes, the marsupials, and the placenta. Placenta mammals is the ones you're most familiar with. Mammals have the lowest diversity of all vertebrates, about 5,300 species. Most are rodents, bats, shrews, moles. Hair is the biggest significant difference for these organisms. It's keratin, made of keratin, same thing feathers are made out of. Hair is used for insulation, for camouflage, just like that tiger moving through the reeds there. Sensory structures, cats use, that young killer whale will sense where the mom is by small little rostral hairs that they lose soon after they're born, that they use to sense where they are in connection to their mom. And porcupine down there, he uses his hair for defense. Another big thing of course with the mammals is the mammary glands, which they can use to feed their young. There's a baby harp seal. The milk from female baby harp seal is about 50% fat. Pup gains about 5 pounds, 2.5 kilograms a day, and weans in 12 days. It's got to in an environment like that. Mammals are also endothermic with a 4-chambered heart. They're diaphragm breathers, so now we breathe not by like the amphibians did where they gulp air and swallow it, but we basically use a diaphragm to expand our lungs, more effective. And of course, we have the largest relative brain compared to other vertebrates. And we give birth to live young, and the egg is maintained inside, just like you see upper right. Mammals are known for their specialized dentition. You can see that on the right-hand side. Sometimes organisms will have a homodont dentition, which means all the teeth are the same, like killer whales, or 80 conical-shaped teeth. But depending on what you're doing, if you are an omnivore like us, you can see, for example, we have chiseling teeth and grinding teeth and ripping teeth. Mammals are also known for their herbivores having mutualistic bacteria. Mammals have hooves and horns and antlers. Hooves, like on that horse hoof, that's a pad of keratin. And if you always wonder what a horse hoof was, if you imagine the end of your finger, looking at the end of your finger end on, and you took your nail and thickened it and wrapped it around, that would be the hoof. So that part that looks like a triangle, which horse people call a frog, that would be the tip of your finger. Hooves are keratin pads. Horns are surrounded by keratin. Bones, or antlers are bones but no keratin, and they're replaced. The velvet is what's used to provide the nutrients for the bone. Mammals are unique. The only mammal, or bats are unique among mammals. They're the only flying mammal. They use a patagium, which is that membrane between the digits. Those are their finger bones or phalanges that they stretch that between, allows them to fly. We have bats here in Florida, Brazilian free-tailed bat. And they navigate using echolocation. Notice the teeth, too. Sometimes it's for feeding, sometimes for different things. Beavers use their chiseling teeth for cutting down wood. Elephants would use their chiseling teeth or tusks for combat and for battle for females and for defense. Mammals evolved. The synapsid reptiles are extinct, but the mammal synapsids are alive. They're alive today. Biomarsuchus was a synapsid reptile. Pristurognathus was a synapsid mammal. Both of those are extinct, and those little creatures you see right there, those were all examples of those synapsid mammals that were around during that time. Back around during about 200 million years ago, so, just soon after the dinosaurs. Adaptive radiation occurred very much so after the dinosaurs when they extinct 65 million years ago, because prior to that, a lot of the mammals were tiny, shrew-like, insectivorous, lived up in the trees. They were nocturnal. We know that because we can see in the fossil record their large eye sockets. And they were nocturnal probably for protection. And coming out at night was a little safer than coming out during the day with all the dinosaurs. Oh, hearing and jaw modification, big thing with mammals. If you look at your typical reptilian jaw, these three bones, the articular, the quadrate, and the squamosal, we're looking at more specifically the articular and the quadrate. What has happened is we moved from the present day reptile to the present day mammal is those bones of the jaw that are right there at the juncture of the jaw, those two little bones, the green one and the orange one, have actually become and migrated and become the inner bones of our ear, the malleus or the hammer, and the incus or the anvil. See, reptiles only have a stapes. We have those three bones, and what that does is it allows better sound amplification and much better discernment of sound. This bone migration, by the way, still happens in mammalian embryos. So during mammalian embryo development, these bones will migrate from the jaw joint region into the ear region. Three mammal groups: the monotremes, which are the most ancestral. That's the platypus and the spiny anteater. They actually lay eggs, no well-developed nipples. They have a cloaca, which is not found in other mammals. We talked about that with fish and amphibians. Only found in Australia and New Guinea. Duck-billed platypus and the echidna. There's a platypus with a couple of young. Their eggs are very small, almost like jelly beans. Marsupials are pouched mammals. The young develop in a pouch. They're viviparous. Basically, they have a short-lived yolk, placenta. Then the rest of the development occurs in the marsupium or the pouch. Most of these are in Australia. Kangaroo fits in that group. South America. We have one in North America, and that would be our buddy, the opossum. The eutherian are the placental mammals. Those are the ones like you and I. They develop a true placenta, and that allows for a considerable fetal development prior to parturition. Better chance for the young to survive. So we talked about this throughout the semester, and this would be a very effective way to increase the survival of your young. After the dinosaurs went extinct, it was the placental mammals that rose to rapid diversification, and they are now the most extant of all the mammals. We'll finish up the last couple slides, just very quickly looking at human evolution. I'm not an anthropology class, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but you look at this looks very familiar. This is a cladogram of human evolution. We've evolved very much like a lot of the other organisms out there, right? There's been organisms that have started and stopped, that have gone extinct, and now we're the only ones left, the Homo sapiens of this group of the human tree. The Lotoli footprints are interesting because they let us know that about 3.2 million years ago, Lucy and her friends, Lucy was not a human, but she was something called an Australopithecine, which was a human-like critter. But the Lotoli footprints, which were made by Australopithecines like Lucy, told us that these animals were bipedal. They could walk upright. So this is the time when human beings began to move out of the forest and into the open areas, and being bipedal would be an advantage in an open area because you could see further. Not only prey, but also predators. All right.